Good afternoon. My name is Zehra Naqvi, and I'm the Senior Research Associate at South Asia Research Institute for Minorities, an organization dedicated to advocating and empowering minority communities across the South Asia region. Today, we are honored to have with us Musfika Laiju, a gender and diversity researcher, feminist activist, and human rights advocate. The topic is caste, gender, and marginalization, minorities in Bangladesh, in which we will discussing caste, gender, marginalization in Bangladesh, particularly the lived experience of minority community. So, how are you, Musfika ji?
Thank you and Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak for everyone for your country.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yes.
much for joining us. To begin, as a gender and feminist activist and, of course, human rights advocate, how has your work addressed caste and gender based discrimination in Bangladesh?
Thank you and again thank you for giving the opportunity because we are activists in Asia or somewhere we try to be raise our voice to people how much it is we can. So this is a nice opportunity for me. I can communicate with your country and my country as well and the Dalit community with who is living in my heart. So it's a nice opportunity for me. So thank you. Yes, as a feminist activist, yes. First, I want to say from my younger childhood, I'm starting work in Bangladesh as a women rights activist. Beginning the 90s. So that time, actually, this terminology is still rolling in my country. So we need to be women empowered because of a new country. So lot of things, lot of papers, laws needs to be reformed, need to be right. So I starting my work. That time that was job. Now it's not job. So it's women rights. So then it's slowly going on in Bangladesh, and we are improving. And then we are starting gender in development. Then we are starting work gender and development. And now is the time we moving to feminism because all our issue actually philosophy people can be belonging feminism psychology. It's possible to overcome the war deprivedness or and another what actually suffering the sadness for minority. So feminism can give the freedom all our minorities. Even in Asia, of course, lot of minorities are women also minorities belonging to minorities classes. So we also minorities. So if feminism can establish, maybe we will be provide all rights or all minorities and women also. So being a feminist and activist, I wish, of course, I maintain some steps. So I try to empowering marginalized community. I have worked very closely indigenous women, Dalit communities, sex workers, and LGBTQ rights. And in Bangladesh, I'm the first ally. I'm not a LGBTQ community, but I starting raise my voice for LGBT community because it's not allowing in the society, even my country. So lots at a big community of LGBTQ in Bangladesh, actually they are sufferings. And for auditness, people cannot raise the voice. And slowly I saw last 10 years, it's a big issue. People are actually suffering. They have no citizen rights. They have the human rights in Bangladesh. So I just align all minorities and LGBTQ rights. I just align with them. So I'm focusing on marginalized community, indigenous community closely rights, that dignity, justice, and equal opportunity. I'm just raise my voice through capacity building training, legal support, awareness campaign. And another thing I always is ongoing process in online. I'm raise my voice and I advocate to our country people, not firstly government people. They are the community, their sufferings, they have human rights, they are always belong under the human rights. So I always advocating. And I'm amplifying my voice, women for marginalized caste background and help them access social protection scheme and employment opportunity also. I mean, just first beginning the day I told you that employee opportunity is it's actually vital issue. So if we can assure the employment of the minority community, then they are actually live themselves and they starting to raising their voice, and of course they hold their leadershipness and their own community. And policy advocacy, of course. Secondly, policy advocacy and gender and caste inclusion. I successfully integrate the caste and gender sensitive policy within the civil work and ensuring fair ways, equal participation, and protection from violence and harassment from low caste and minority women workers. My working now, at present, I'm working the women who are actually working construction worker. Very recently, not so long, a lot of women are starting working on construction work. You can understand the construction work. So I'm trying a whole of my working issue. I'm trying to inclusion them. So I have the opportunity to work with them, and I'm trying to inclusion all minority communities. They say LGBTQ, even religious minority, and who actually in LGBTQ. So, and I'm trying to, as a policymaker, to make them fair ways, equal ways, equal participation. I cannot ensure equal participation even, but I just put 30% should be minority community work with this workforce. And I try to protection working place, no violence, no hating thing, and no harassment, because most of the women actually working with me, of course, and another man also, and another gender issue also, but my working, especially my core team, actually women. So thirdly, actually, I try to advocate in local government. I don't know you have a experience or regarding Bangladesh. We have a local government, and so big in central government, and province government, then district, then another semi-district. We call them upajala level. So we have access, but I have access to communicate directly the local government bodies. So I try to ensure the labor rights and push the anti-discrimination laws and gender responsive complement mechanism. I try to the local government is a small tier. So when on we discuss with them and try to make the policy or implement or operation to the policies as anti-discrimination. So small place I can hit them. Then it's my play. I'm starting to work in my territory, not in central or in Dhaka or some big city. I'm trying to from the community, from beginning the community, start the working. And building safe space on platform for Dalit and indigenous women. I established community support network and safe space for Dalit women and female-headed household. Hijra community member for share their experience and gender-based violence, caste discrimination, and social inclusion. I'm trying to make a network whole country. I have a platform. I'm the founder chairman on Feminist Network BD. I work on this ground, and there also I try to who is working, who in sex worker women who can work and who can want to free from their this very what can I say unlikely livelihood. So I try to involve their civil work, and of course try to ensure I'm not successful every time, but try to ensure fair ways and no discrimination, no hating space in their community places. So directly referral, I'm helping to them, the authority, to make a mechanism to legal, and I just provide the legal support. I'm not a legal person, but I have a legal lawyer pool who is actually work behalf of us for sex worker, for Dalit women who is actually suffering for any discrimination or any harassment or any criminal things, who is actually who will victim in this community. I can support them, law support through our lawyer panel. And intersectional feminist writer as I am, so I'm most of the time try to write their story, their sufferings, their rights. Normally, if I write something anti-government or anti-policy, people are not happy. So I'm always try to write some portal who is very, what can I say, very free, and they're not audit. So women chapter, feminist factor, and I have a platform, Women's Windows. And Bangladesh, there is a popular newspaper, The Observer. I try to write myself every week as a feminist writer. So, and in my work, normally it is a routine work. I try to mobilize grassroots feminist network, and I also member of some network in Asian network, grassroots network, of course, Asian or Bangladesh, and now I'm working as you also. So this also I try to international national networking to raise their voice or ensure their rights. This also actually I'm working, and I believe that gender justice and incomplete without without gender justice people are not make free. Caste always is ongoing, the caste oppression. I like to say into building the inclusive feminist movement in Bangladesh, and I want to inclusion the Dalit women and Hijra individual, indigenous women, and sex worker also. So this actually I want to. So this way, actually, as a feminist, I work myself. I don't know my.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing the reality and your journey. Moving to the next question: how does caste-based discrimination intersect with gender-based violence amongst the minority women in Bangladesh?
When you say the minority, you can see the words itself are discrimination word. Yeah. And when you see, you can visualize a minority. Who is minority? Minority, they have no rights, no rights, no finance, no human rights. No citizen rights, no human rights, no working rights. They are poor. So a minority women, of course, I always talk to women. They 3-4 types deprivation. They actually belong. They are poor. They are women. They are belonging minority community. So they normally in Bangladesh, in my experience, sexual violence as a tool of caste oppression, because it's a normal. They are very powerless people. They belonging the underline of the humanity. So sexual violence is often happen there. They normally targeted for sexual violence, form of social control or punishment. Because if you are raise your voice, or if you wants to enjoy your rights, so of course this the society. I hate the civil society, these words, but society, they actually take it issue. They should just make it sexual violence for their control and punishment. And lower social status, and because their lower social status, lack of access of justice, to make them easy to sexual violence and harassment, and it's most of the time it's going to rape, and of course violence. It's called domestic violence. Domestically they are violent. They are of course the violence they happen, but normally in working place, in open place, even though shopping market, it's happened. And what can I say? Actually, when you ask someone what is your sadness, you cannot explain in 1 or 2 words. Sadness is a big thing. So sexual harassment has happened. It's common. And gender, because they're women and they are poor, so it's common. GBB, very, very what can I say, common discrimination in Bangladesh, gender-based violence, and limit of access. And what happened, because limit of access of justice and support service, because their main issue, their minority. So normal who was working in Bangladesh, maybe in Asia, who's in non-government people or some civil society organization, but as they are minority, they limited access to justice and support service. because they can't and face if they sometimes ask their rights for court or somewhere, they face discrimination from law enforcement, no healthcare service provided, because when they starting the queue of healthcare services, because they're minority, so people are hated them and they cannot stand the line. And doctor or service provider actually sometimes they openly they say you are a minority, but sometimes they're not say, but that activity, that body language, your minority go to behind. So healthcare service is not provided rightly. And another thing, lack of gender sensitiveness and caste representative complexion. People are normal people, same in the whole Asia. Normal people, they have no gender knowledge, don't know the gender. So always they inbuild the gender discrimination. So inside who is service provider, so always they did the gender discrimination. And sometimes there is a possibility local government, if a minority women or Dalit women want to their right and the complaint to local government, but it's a long process. Is this tier to go there, then another tier to go there, then if not, go to the minister even. So a Dalit woman, she has no big hand to just touch the minister level for justice. So lost of the time actually, is justice is really a big injustice in their life. And lack of gender, even another thing, in Bangladesh, why the lack of their language barrier. I told you later, language barrier also another thing. You have experience. Even I see the Nepal, Sri Lanka. I've never been in Pakistan, but their Dalit community, they have another languages. And you can understand. And when they start to trying what can I say? Good language, but common language, and which is community people tell they cannot pronounce. So maximum time they actually selected they are Dalit. They cannot hide themselves they are Dalit. So this also a discrimination. Well, what can I say? I don't understand. Please tell me good Bangla or something, or can I understand? So this also a weapon of discrimination. And I try to them. I say, please learn good Bangla when you go to the office or somewhere of Thana or local government, please. And economically, exploitation is a forced labor, if I can say the Dalit women or men, actually, they have works for cleaning this place to this place, on office to two office, but they are Dalit. Sometimes they are forced to free labor them. And economically exploitation is very interesting, this thing. Say, normally Bangladesh, Dalit community actually work as a cleaner, as another cleaning thing and sweeping this way. But sometime in normal, not normal, from the society, from the low income society or civil society, a poor come and say, oh, you have a salary is 12,000 taka, say, then I will provide you 3,000 taka, go to back home and stay, I'm working. And he collect the 12,000 taka and he take 8,000 taka and another 3,000 taka actually gave the Dalit person who has the job actually. But for the force, use the force, they're not allowed to the Dalit who actually have the job, they cannot allow to him or her to work. Then Dalit people, what? Because they have no power, they say go back to home, and normally from home they take 3,000 because they need to sign to for paid up, and 8,000 money just take them on. And what can I say? The society is low income society, it's not civil society. But this time there are a lot of new information to me. Their exploitation, lot of sweeping or sweeper or who are Dalit, the civil society back them to house because now is Bangladesh. You say we have no lot of works, lot of people are unemployed. So this is also new issue to deprive the Dalit community and minority also, who is actually working small working. What can I say? Sweeping, toilet cleaning, drainage cleaning, lots of things cleaning. So lot of people are unemployed, so they actually press them to go back. I provide you a small money. And social stigma or community backlash is very common. Um, you say the socially when they are suffering or they are had any they are victim or they had any uh, criminal things with them. Actually, they are not raise their voice. They try. They are not. Uh, they are not actually have the brave to ask the rights from the thana or local community or something, because they always feel they are backlash people. They are hate of community, actually hater community there, so they are not raise their voice. They try to be uh, stay in themselves and try to be forget it. Actually, they are not forget it, but this is also very common. And you know, uh, because they social isolation, they are always social isolation because they are Dalit, and economic vulnerability always with them. uh, like forced displacement, because they are always worried if they raise their voice or ask the rights from the government, they feel they are should be, maybe would be forced displaced, and sometimes forced displaced also they are. Because yeah, in district place or Bangladesh, they have a place government land. They are actually, especially Dalit community or especially sex worker community, they make their own house and they working. But sometimes government is change or on powerful political people just evict them. This land we needed, we make a market or whatever, what else, but it's go away. Even on night they gave the time, they please go away. So it's very common, they forced displaced in Bangladesh. So what actually should we do? Maybe you asked the last question, but gender and DBB policy should be strongly improved. I don't know, it's my dream. And community-based legal support need to be, say me and another organization should be stronger to provide the community support. I talk with them, I talk with you, maybe it's last question, but what actually should we should do this also. So community service should be stronger. Local women leaders and feminist leaders should be more mobilized and more raise the voice raise. And our community should make their own self space or self support, and time to time should be report uh, to the government entity in local level. And gender inclusion and labor policy should be stronger in for Dalit community or sexual community or LGBT community. I think this also.
I truly agree with your expertise. Thank you so much for explaining it so well. Moving ahead, what challenges Dalit and indigenous women face in education and employment? How does the discrimination impact in their independence, economical independence?
Yes, lack of gender sensitivity law is very poor in Bangladesh, and limited access to legal aid, because indigenous women, they are living in the hill tracts district and living in the another territory of Bangladesh, border in Bangladesh. So limit access to legal support, complex legal procedure because of empower, economic vulnerability, language barrier, and no electric communication, and they are minorities, so their lack of procedure. If they starting the or start the on a step, they have very delay procedure. But it's very serious, and they cannot come to district town and all go, and they have money, they have nothing in the district. It is a very expensive thing if you want to raise the question. So this is an important barrier. And absence of witness protection, because if you want to justice from the government, who gave the witness? No people are with them, behalf of them, they did not give the witness. So this also social barrier. And cultural stigma and shame, because if they victim by a rapist, they cannot raise their voice. Even own community, they are deprived, so they are shy. And all men also, they please don't raise the question, don't express the story, because it's our shameness. And we are minority and you are women, and we have our own social status, and we are very deprived people in Bangladesh, Bangladesh, of course. So please, this also a social barrier, and uh, particularly practical norms and family pressure are also a victim and women, and language and communication barrier also social barrier, and limit support service. You saw Bangladesh, they have lot of support service, Anshali Shikinro, Brass, and another few organizations, even Human Rights Foundation, but support service is very low because it's from the district level or from the city level, their living is so far in the country. So counseling, no counseling service. So in educate shelter, is not support counseling service, and trauma support. It's a dream who people can take the trauma or counseling support. So this also limits service, and structural barrier. I already said before, intersectional discrimination because no roads, no good communication, no bus, no train. So intersectional discrimination, of course, and lack of representation of justice system, and occupation and potential political influence also. People are who, when the election is coming, people are maybe on time in 5 years, the political people raise their door, but after 5 years or then no never, they just ask them how you are, what you are. So this also on a structural barrier. And such solution actually is same solution, gender responsive legal forms should be um, would be. It's our responsible, I know, and establish a community-based support system. This is a very important thing. When I'm thinking, I discuss with you, I feel it is on issue option. I raise my head. You need to be local community system, a common own community. If we can make a system, a support system, so it's good work because few people are educated now, few girls are educated now. So maybe this is also my next step too. I try to be based support system in own community. And respond, sometimes awareness, people that doesn't know, even they did not know what rules in Bangladesh rolling behalf of them, which organization, who is the right person. People doesn't know, lack of awareness, and cultural sensitivity in counseling and legal support. I try to be, it's also a new option. I try to make a small communities for support service. So I try to involve all support, including the community. So this also.
Yeah. I truly hope that the discrimination and systematic barrier end soon. It's heartbreaking to see these challenges limit the opportunities of so many women. So the last question is, what policy changes and grassroots initiatives are needed to combat the caste and gender-based discrimination in Bangladesh?
I think it's not very a small thing, but bigger headline. It's a barrier of education. We try to be, when people are educated, people know the information, people can communicate with you in online or somewhere, because now it's a internet world, so online world. So it's education barrier. I think so, because caste ethnic discrimination in school, they are living far from the city, so very limitation of school. And Dalit and Indigenous girl, they face bullying, humiliation, exclusion of the both peers. So limitation of school, so lack of education is the main factor. And somewhere where the school is there, but they are not quality education, because no good teacher cannot stay in this community, and they are not human education in their head. So if they are not feeling them from the heart, I am the educator, I am the teacher, so they are not provide them good teaching, that human based teaching. So the quality, they cannot quality ensure the school, and language barrier also. People provide the education is so in common language, common grammatical language, which is common in Pramito Bangla. In Bangla, I don't know in English. It's such a nicer language, and the indigenous people, they have all communities, they have own language. So they cannot understand even the good language, and their language cannot understand the teacher. So there is the main barrier to provide. So early marriage, family responsibility, this also barrier. In early marriage, the very very strong barrier here, because the poor parents, they feel the babe girls or boys, they're obstacle their life. They're a big unbearable thing. So they try to be give the early marriage the girl, and they try to that leaving the school, they try to involve the work, earning money for the boys. So this also one barrier. um Lack of role model. First time I told you, they have no leader. In Dalit community, they are lack of leader. They feel they have leader. They have some leader, but no role model, no leader. So they cannot show this is my leader. In India, they have role model leader in Dalit community, in sexual community. But in my country, they cannot follow the leader. And a nice thing, a Dalit girl, they get the chance Harvard University. Day before yesterday, we inform she from the tea garden in Silet Vibhag in Amar district. So this is the first interesting or very delighted thing. That girl from Dalit, she that get the chance to read in Harvard. So this is the following thing: no leader, no followers in this their community. And employment, because no education, no access, lack of employment. There, this very very painful thing. If someone have the education skill, but due to Dalit belonging Dalit community or minority community, they did not get the chance for employment, for the competition. So employment and gender always gap, because if they can get the chance, but always they are the very big barrier for OS. They cannot ask the equal OS from the people. And limit skill development, because no education, no technical institution. So the lack of, they cannot skill themselves. So they are always in the behind. So skill development is the main thing. And uh, you know they're worried the sexual harassment in workplace violence, because they are always, they make them down. So they feel they cannot raise the voice. So they always they're always shaky. If it happened in sexual harassment or any workplace violence, so they cannot uh, even they cannot manage it. They cannot ask the right. So this also a barrier. And economic, the poverty, dependency, limit access of financial services, no bank, nothing savings, nothing is. So this also barrier. And dependencies, always they depend. If they have education, they have education certificate, or they are skilled, but they are always depend, because they are a minority. They try to help, they pray help from the civil society. So this also act on barrier. And social inclusion from market and network is very poor. Limit social network, when they want to ask something, buy in the shops, or women, they cannot allow even the beauty parlor. Even when they ask something, I want to purchase or dress or something, even medicine, they always stand in behind, because lack of social inclusion and yes, and network. And you so and invisible policy development program, because some policies, some rules in my country, but they do not know. And they know about, they have no way to how, what is rules is ongoing in country. And when I take the shelter, we take the shelter for the injustice. So this also invisible program there. And um, this is also barrier, big barrier. How can I say for 1 hour or for 10 minutes the barrier? Normally, I told you first, a minority is itself a barrier. Yeah. When you make them a border, it's a minority community, itself a barrier. As a dreamer, as a feminist, as an activist, I feel one day we are not use this minority community. This word we should not use. I hope all will be mainstream. What is their job, what is their work, what is they come from, which family, it should not matter. So minority itself a word you can visual that the injustice or deprivedness or lack of access. So that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Musfika ji, for shedding light onto the reality on the critical issues. Your work truly inspired us, and we deeply appreciate your insight. You have provided us with a greater understanding of the struggles and the necessary step towards equality. We hope this conversation have been insightful and thoughtful, thought-provoking. Let's continue to engaging in meaningful discussion and take action to support marginalized communities. Stay connected with SARIM for more conversation to amplify the marginalized voice and advocate for justice.
Thank you so much. And Eid Mubarak.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye
Okay.
bye.